Welcome everyone who is present to the meeting and welcome to those watching online at home. I remind members of the public that this meeting is webcast live and everyone seated must use their microphones to be heard on the webcast. Some introductions now. I'm Councillor Stephen Watson, Chair. I have to my right Rani Gatura, Peter Mannings. Rani Gatura is the planning solicitor. Peter Mannings, committee support officer. To my left is Neil Button, development management team leader. We have Elizabeth Oswick, planning officer. Amit Patel, principal officer. Martin Plummer is he a service manager. Hannah Watson, planning officer. And I would also like to introduce the Council's Executive Member for Planning and Growth, Councillor Vicky Glover-Ward, who won't be taking an active part in this meeting, but is here in an observing capacity. So the first item of business is the appointment of Vice Chair. Does anyone have any nominations for the appointment of Vice Chair? Anyone want to make a proposal for Vice Chair?
I'm sorry, could I just hand that over to somebody else? I apologise. Sorry.
Okay, anyone else want to make a proposal for Vice Chair? Oh, well, in that case, I will make a proposal for Vice Chair. I would like to propose Councillor Simon Marlowe for Vice Chair. Could anybody, I know he's not here, but I'm still going to propose him. Would anybody like to second Councillor Marlowe? Councillor Connolly. All right, is it any other nominations for Vice Chair? I'm guessing that we waited so long for the first nomination, we don't have any others. All right, can I have a show of hands for Councillor Marlowe to be Vice Chair? Could you keep your hands up, please? Any abstentions? Yes. Anyone against? Sorry. Abstention. Anyone against first? Anyone against first, please. And any abstentions? All right, so that's Simon Marlowe. We'll be sitting here next time we have a meeting. Thank you. Now, apologies for absence.
Yes, Chairman. Apologies from Councillor Carter, and Councillor Connolly is substituting for her. Also, apology from Councillor Holt, and Councillor Bull is substituting. Apology from Councillor Estop, and Councillor Redfern is substituting, and finally from Councillor Marlowe. Okay.
Okay. Now on to Chairman's announcements. And first of all, may I ask that all participants please use their microphones when speaking. This meeting is being webcast. And also, I would like to point out that it's a different chair at the moment. I'm not Councillor Estop, and I would like to say that Councillor Estop was a very knowledgeable, dedicated, hardworking and supportive chair, and it was a pleasure to work with her as Vice Chair. Now, declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest? Okay. Councillor Thomas, I don't.
Yes, I'd just like to declare, though, in my role as a ward councillor, I'm speaking in a personal capacity and not as a member of Watton-at-Stone Parish Council.
Oh, thanks for letting us know. Any members got any? Nope. Okay. Now we move on to the minutes for the meeting on the 10th of April 2024. If there are no amendments needed to the minutes, please can we have a proposer for the minutes being an accurate record of the meeting? Councillor Devonshire. Is that seconded? Councillor Stowe. All right, can we have a, yes, can we have a vote, please? And anyone against? And abstentions? Yep. Yep. Those minutes have been agreed. Now on to our first planning application, 323-2108 FUL, erection of 60 residential units. Use class 3 with creation of access, car parking, landscaping, amenity and open space, substation, pedestrian cycle paths and associated development, and provision of footbridge across the River Bean at land at Walkern Road, Watton Stone, Hertfordshire. Now, Amit Patel is going to present the application for us.
Thank you, Chair. The map above is the Watton Stone WAS3 policy for the site, which is the furthest top site, which is earmarked in red. This is the site that we are in discussion today. The green part is still part of the site, but it's not released from the green belt. And that's where the footpath and the bridge will be as part of the development. Sorry, next slide. The Watton Stone, the main policy that is driving this development is WAS3. And in terms of delivering the development, the criteria listed below are the ones that have been assessed against what is being put forward to you tonight. So, next slide. In terms of the context of the site, as you can see from the top 3 pictures, this is a snapshot of site visit of the northern boundary near the A602, the belt of trees in the background, and going across further down to the right-hand side, in the bottom right-hand side, the picture there is approximate of where the bridge is likely to be located. So next slide. In terms of the pictures here, the top 2 left-hand side pictures, including the middle one, that's the landscaping along the western boundary where the development is going to meet the greenbelt land, as you saw in the slide before. And below is a wider shot of the land for where the development is going to take place. This slide just gives you an overall context of the site in relationship to the A602, as well as Stevenage Road in the High Street and Watton, the northern part of Watton, Watton Village. The site, although not earmarked in red, is the site that has got the slight yellow lines within it, which is that there. Yeah, thank you. Next slide. So this is an overall parcel of the master planning for Watton, Watton Stone, and this slide shows you the relationship of routes around the village and how this site will connect into those routes as part of the Watton Neighbourhood Plan Policy WAS 3 and WAS 10. Sorry, next slide. So this gives you an idea of what the red line plan is. The furthest north of, or sorry, northeast side where it says the application site, and the black line earmarked there, that's where the main development of the housing is going to take place, as you can see in the slide next to it. So the layout of the houses are generally in forms of addressing streets within the development, and a mixture of houses, which we'll come on to later, is likely to happen. And as you can see, the land in the green, you can see the black earmarked bridge and the footpath connecting, as well as the existing right of way on the right hand side, on the eastern side of the site, connecting into the site with the footpath where it says BC at the top. Next slide. So in terms of the layout, there's a main thoroughfare, which is where the main access for the site is going to take place, as well as a footpath access, which travels along from east to west, connecting to the footpath to the bridge, going past the main central public area, as well as allowing people to come through the site and connecting to the wider route on what we saw previously. Next slide, please. In terms of looking at the overall topography and heights and buildings and how they will be envisaged within the development, as you can see from the cross section in the red line, the top picture shows you the way the development has been laid out on the northern side of the site, as well as on the bottom picture is the cross section going from north to south, how the houses have been addressed, taking into account the topography of the land. Next picture. So again, this is showing you a cross section across the site, which is the main route within the site for the new vehicle access, going past the children's play and attenuation and across down to the footpath. Lots of work has been done between the developers and the council officers to get a street which has some visual interest, providing different building types, but using the same materials and allowing visual interest through the main thoroughfare of the site. And on the bottom picture, you can see it's a CGI modeling of what is to be envisaged walking through that part of the site. Next one. So this cross section shows the proposed development along the frontage of the site, fronting Walkenham Road behind the landscaping. It's part of policy WAS3 on the neighbourhood plan, required the buildings along this frontage to follow the building lines of the buildings to the further south of Walkenham Road. And as you can see, it's followed the topography of the landscaping as well as the building lines of those buildings to the south, and created a two-story development going from south to north, although increasing in height in terms of land. So this as part of, again, the neighbourhood plan policy. One of the key details was the houses fronting the green open space, which is shown on the red line, fronting the green open space. You can see all the buildings will have windows overlooking that green space, and the bottom CGI showing you how that's going to be perceived as you walk across the site, along the footpath over the bridge, or over the bridge along the footpath back into the site. Gives you clear indication of the palette of materials, different designs, giving you visual interest as you go into the more public open areas. So this this plan shows the general building heights of what is being proposed within the development. Part of policy WAS3 was to ensure that buildings were no more than 2 stories high. And as you can see from the legend, all the houses, or majority of the houses, are all going to be 2-story in height. And we'll come to why that was a bit later on. So this is the layout of the different housing types that are being proposed on this site. As you can see, it goes from 1 bed all the way to 4-bed houses in different types of masonettes, and house types from 2 to 4 bed, and distributed along within the site. So this plan is looking at how the affordable housing is being distributed along within the development site. As you can see, there's the bottom left-hand side with the green dots, that's going to be the affordable intermediate, and the ones with the red dots is affordable rented, and the top 6 houses are going to be actual dwellings. So there's a good mixture of 1, 2, 3 and 4 bed affordable housings that's going to be delivered on site. Although they're not pepper potted across the site, however, in terms of how the officers consider, the main reason why having pepper potted affordable housing was to create social inclusion, and the main space within the central part where the children play spaces and the informal drainage is, that's where the main interaction is going to be between different people. And by having the majority of the affordable housing across that will create social cohesion in terms of what the officers feel. Sorry. So in terms of car parking, as you can see, the dwellings themselves will all individually have car parking spaces. The red dots annotated will be for the masonettes, which is unallocated car parking, but adjacent to those buildings. And the blue dots show where there's going to be visitor car parking, and the purple dots is houses with garages who have got enough car parking for the different sizes. So another part of the development was there was key earmarked marker buildings within the site where most of the public were likely to go through the site. And these buildings were generally in the corner plots. So the blue building, yellow, pink, and the brown are the main ones that follow the thoroughfare through the site down towards the bridge. And as you can see, work took place between the developers, or sorry, the agent and the officers to create a 2 frontage buildings, and distinguishing the main frontage with things like porches, different design of porches, the way the size of the windows worked to the secondary frontage, as you can see in the pictures there, to allow a more interesting marker to the corner parts of this site. So in terms of the landscaping, it's noted that the landscape officer had made comments that there's not enough detail. However, in terms of the landscape master plan and part of policy WAS3 and conditions which are being put forward to you tonight, part 1 is the attenuation basin, which basically, as noted before, because of the way the topography site works, the water level or water is likely to run towards that southern eastern corner. And so that makes the perfect example of why that's there. And in terms of 2 and 3, the 2 is like a community garden and an informal play space with the sub features which the Environment Agency have commented upon and have no objections to. And the 3 is the play space in terms of where the children or social cohesion potentially could take place within the site. And number 8 is the boundary of where the green belt meets the development site. And as part of number 8, it's going to retain the existing green landscape in there, as well as enhance it, as well as on number 7, which is the buffer towards the southern part of Walkenham Road site, village, existing village, the eastern side along Walkenham Road, and the northern side where the A602 is, and across the boundary with the green belt, which is still retained. So, next slide. So as part of the development proposal is a bridge has to be part and parcel of the proposal to cross the River Bean. It's unfortunate that steps have been used. However, the Environment Agency had played a very important role because this area is in a flood zone. The Environment Agency were very restrictive on what type of bridge could go into this location and the design of it. And therefore, the Environment Agency have finally agreed that this is the design of the bridge that can be accommodated within the flood zone. And therefore, if you can see in the bottom right hand picture, it's a CGI projection of what is proposed to be like as you walk across the bridge, looking back towards the development. So these are some of the highways enhancements that are likely to happen along Walkenham Road. So in the top left-hand picture, it's going to be signage on the road as well as to the side, notifying changes in speed levels as you come close suddenly towards the village. In the bottom left-hand picture is a crossing that is being proposed between the existing public rights of way onto a new footpath that will link into the development and then carry on down towards the main entrance of the development, which if you look in the middle picture is the blue line that carries on across the entrance to the site, with the new footpath carrying on further south, which allows a crossing for pedestrian crossing. And in the final picture is further south from the site is a crossing that is being proposed and the road narrowing to restrict traffic going 2 ways. So one side would have to stop. And this is another strategy to slow down traffic along Walkenham Road. And thank you for your time, Chair. And the officers recommend approval. Oh, sorry. There's some, sorry, Chair, there's some late items.
Yep, go ahead.
So in terms of the late items, part of condition 4, the EA had agreed with the council that the trigger for the landscaping ecological management plan should not be restrictive to stop the residential development coming forward, and therefore they've changed the wording from no development shall take place to prior to the installation of the bridge and the landscaping ecological improvements around the River Bean as a trigger point. In terms of condition 7, site waste management plan was submitted to the council and accepted by the County Council's Mineral and Waste Authority, who have, rather than agreed a pre-commencement condition, rather put it as a compliance condition. And in paragraph 9.83, the plain pitch states 104791 as a requirement. However, it's contradictory to section 11 under the draft legal agreement. Negotiations have taken place with the parish council as well as the applicants, and have agreed that the 126690 shall be the figure that is put forward, due to the fact that a 3G pitch may be required in the future. And paragraph 9.90 stated that the historic environment, i.e. archaeology, hadn't finalized their comments. But in 10.3 part G, they recommended that the trial trenches that took place on the site found no remnants of archaeology, and therefore recommends no conditions in terms of archaeology. In terms of condition 6, the agent or the applicants have required that, due to the high-speed broadband connection being prior to commencement, they consider that rather than restricting the development starting on site, they can do that prior to any above groundworks, and officers feel that is a reasonable solution to agree, as we consider that that could be restrictive to them starting on site. In terms of condition 17, although this hasn't been agreed with the officers, the condition number 17, it requires at least 10% of all dwellings within the development to be approved as part of Part 4M3 adaptable wheelchair. Reading the precursor to that policy, it's required that all development on the site should meet that, and therefore officers consider that that should stay as stated in condition 17 in the report. And in terms of 6.2, this should be deleted, as it was updated in 6.26 following archaeology's late comments, and 9.10 should not read Hertford Town Council but Watton Stone Parish Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, I think we're on to the speakers now. We've got 3 speakers, and first of all we have Mr. Mark Jackson on behalf of the developer for the application of Fairview New Homes. It's a strategic site, so you get 6 minutes should you need them.
Thank you, Chair. I don't think I'll take 6 minutes. Good evening. My name is Mark Jackson. I'm the Director of Planning at Fairview New Homes. I wanted to start this evening by offering a note of thanks to residents and parish councils, both past and present, of Watton Stone, officers of the council, county council, for all the hard work that's gone into this project over many, many years. I actually started work on this project about 10 years ago with the district council, and more recently with the Watton Stone Parish Council and the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Committee. Right from the start of this project, it was very clear that the community wanted to positively plan for the future of their village. It had to be the right and deliver the benefits to justify the change. This has resulted in an excellent neighbourhood plan, which includes several housing site allocations, a detailed design guide for the village, and a list of benefits, most importantly, that flow from new developments. Watton Stone has effectively recognised that new homes are needed, and when planned correctly, can be a positive addition to the community. The principal development of Walken Road is established through the neighbourhood plan, which was adopted back in December by the main council and now forms part of your development plan. Additionally, a master plan exercise process was successfully carried out towards the end of last year, and the key parameters of the development were established through this formal process. The officer's report to committee provides a full assessment of the application. I won't repeat everything that's in the committee report, but I would like to specifically identify a few key aspects of the proposal. First off, it's the immediate delivery of 60 new homes for the village, including 24 affordable homes. The layout and design of the homes were considered in conjunction with your officers, as you've heard this evening, over the course of numerous pre-applications and post-application meetings, indeed over many, many years. The creation of a public footpath and bridge over the River Bean, which is acceptable to the community and importantly to the Environment Agency. The proposed new footpath across the site also forms part of a circular route around the village as identified in the neighbourhood plan. Improvements to Walken Road, including traffic calming, a new pedestrian, cyclist and crossing points, and extension to the footpath along Walken Road. Fairview's worked very closely with the county highways team over several years to agree a safe and deliverable scheme, which serves the site and benefits the whole village. A sustainable and energy efficient development meeting and exceeding the current plan standards has been achieved through a combination of design optimization, being very careful about how you orientate buildings in terms of solar gains, enhancing the fabric of the building, use of air source heat pumps, and domestic hot water pumps, all the latest technology that we can really throw at it. The scheme also has a positive biodiversity net gain in excess of national requirements, with further improvements to hedgerows and watercourses, all part of the scheme, all secured via a legal agreement. I think this is a great example of a community-led planning scheme, which I think will deliver real benefits for Watton at Stone. If you'll forgive me, just one final note. I'd just like to pay a small tribute to the late Emma Waltham, who was very much a powerful driving force in getting the neighbourhood plan supported by all the necessary statutory consultees and promoting to her village the referendum. I think it's probably one of the strongest mandates that I've seen for a community-led planning initiative. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Councillor Catherine Hammond, Parish Councillor for Watton at Stone. You also have 6 minutes, should you need.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am Catherine Hammond, Councillor at the Parish of Watton at Stone. So I'd like to, Mark Jackson of Fairview has already given you a little bit of this background, but I'd like to just give you a bit of the context for all of this from the Parish Council perspective. Our starting point is Policy Village VIL Bill 1 in the district plan, which placed an obligation on us as a parish to deliver development land for at least 92 homes. And it made a clear link between, on the one hand, formulating a neighbourhood plan to accommodate additional development beyond those 92 homes and the delivery of community benefits. Subsequent planning changes gave us the opportunity to release Greenbelt land ourselves through the neighbourhood plan. Now, at the outset of this process, there was a really strong local lobby against any development on the Greenbelt, and that was really strongly felt. But this started to shift when we realised that given that district plan requirement, there would be development in our village, whether we liked it or not, and that would have to involve Greenbelt release because there wasn't room otherwise. And so the consensus shifted to, well, if this is going to happen, let's take control and let's try and shape it and let's accept it. And so, as Mark referenced, we've received 93% support in the referendum for our neighbourhood plan, which took 8 years to write and which we are, as you can imagine, very proud of. This is really the first test of that neighbourhood plan, and we bear in mind the requirements in the neighbourhood plan, but also that promise in the district plan, which we think was very important in generating that 93%, that if we released Greenbelt land, if we accommodated more development than we were required to do, we would see community benefits. So that's just the background that I wanted to give you. Now, in terms of the application, I would like to acknowledge and thank Fairview for all of its collaboration and cooperation with us all the way through those 8 years plus 10 years nearly now of working on the neighbourhood plan and on this development in particular. We put in some thoughts on the proposals at the beginning of the year, and the vast majority of those have been accommodated, and we're grateful to that. And we think that, broadly speaking, it's in line with our requirements in the plan, and we think that there have been design changes, etc., which we're content with. There are a couple of points to make in relation to the bridge, which you've heard described. The first one, this is absolutely part of this development. We said if you're going to build these 60 homes, we want a bridge to connect them through to the village to ensure the sustainability, the connectivity. It will contribute to this circular walk which we want to create. It's absolutely part of the master plan and the overall vision that our neighbourhood plan is hoping to deliver. So the bridge is essential. And for that reason, we were very pleased to see condition 42, which says that the paths and the including the bridge should be delivered before the by a 30% occupation, I think it is. I'm not trying to challenge the wording, just trying to remember it. Now, there is one point regarding the bridge that I would like to raise. We were a bit disappointed to see that it's a stepped bridge. This is greenbelt land, and a stepped bridge will be a bit clunky in the landscape. It won't be accessible. There will be a channel to take your bikes over it, but it won't be easy for buggies. It won't be easy for people in wheelchairs, etc. We consider that it might be possible if you combined the bridge design with the landscaping design to create landscape mitigation of that flood risk, which would then reduce the bridge design. Now, we've put this in our letter of, I think, the 1st of May. We would like the council to consider including an informative condition that Fairview should continue to work by combining the landscaping design. One of our other priorities in the neighbourhood plan is a wetland meadow. Wetland meadow landscaping could potentially reduce the flooding risk, which would reduce the constraints on the bridge design. And if we could have a ramped bridge, it would sit much more gently in the landscape, and it would also be accessible, which is obviously something that is desirable in itself. So that would be our request regarding the bridge, that we could add an illustrative condition. I don't think those are in the report, but it was in our letter earlier this year. The second point well, 2 points on the bridge. One further point from us regards this balance between the promise that was made. We release Greenbelt land for more than these 92 homes, and we receive community benefits. The Section 106 agreement is really important to us. And again, I'd like to say thank you to the council, to the officers who have worked very hard with us to accommodate our concerns and to flex their original thinking, or to update their original thinking in relation to a 3G pitch project, which is very much close to the hearts of the villagers. It has been a long-held desire of the village to have more football facilities. We've had money that's been waiting to be spent on it. You'll have seen it's absolutely integrated through the neighbourhood plan that football is one of the priority community gains that we'd like to achieve. We were very pleased to see the changes in the original East Herts contribution requests to expressly recognise the 3G pitch project as being one of the things that's available. What I'd like to say is just that we would like as much flexibility in the final Section 106 agreement as possible to make sure that, for example, the landscaping provision could also go to the landscaping around the 3G pitch, and the village facilities contributions could also be applied to the indoor facilities, which will be an integrated part of the 3G project. One final thing to say, we've had a very positive experience throughout this whole process. It's been quite hard fought, some of it, but we're pleased with where we've ended up. We don't object to this application in principle. We have the experience and the scars in the village of the Gatekeepers development, where what was agreed changed over time, and we ended up with more housing